Well, tonight, North Sioux City City Council met for the third time since last month's flooding. The city's response to that disaster and the ongoing recovery dominated the agenda once again tonight. One major item of discussion was the future of the BNSF Railway Bridge over the Big Sioux River. KTV's Connor Trett was at tonight's meeting, which wrapped up just a short time ago. Connor, he joins us live tonight from North Sioux City. Connor, what exactly happened tonight?
Well, Jess, I don't want to short sell any of the other conversations that happened there tonight. A lot of residents still venting their frustrations with the board about just what's transpired over the past few weeks, lacks of communication, not knowing when or if they can go back into their homes or even if they can rebuild where they're already at. Another piece of conversation did revolve around the bridge that collapsed the night of June 23rd, the same night that the Big Sioux River devastated the McCook Lake and North Sioux City neighborhoods. Tonight, representatives of Stockwell Engineering updated the City Council on several items. Among them was the condition of the bridge and plans to remove it. BNSF has told us that it is working on a plan to do so in consultation with local levee authorities and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Tonight, we learned about the timeline for that plan and some details involved.
So that's going to be taking place sooner than later. That's not up to us as a schedule. That is we're working closely with the Corps of Engineers and BNSF to get a plan to remove their structure. So that's in process right now. And as far as when that happens, it could be very soon when that structure gets removed.
The engineer says that the work to remove the train bridge won't begin until a temporary levee can be built behind the existing levee, so that way removal crane equipment can ramp down the existing levee to do the removal work. Now, representatives from BNSF were also in attendance tonight at the meeting, and residents would question them on events leading up to the collapse of the bridge, including questioning them on when they decided to stop the trains. Now, BNSF did say in response to that they operated safely and weren't operating trains at the time of the collapse. Live in North Sioux City, Connor Trett, KTIV News 4. Jess, back to you.
All right, KTV's Connor Trett live tonight in North Sioux City. Connor, thanks for that.